You have your paper towel again, the little side with the circles is down, so it's going to look like this, not like this when you're laying it down. Go ahead and take that and you're going to fold it like a hot dog, like so. Okay. Then you have your lynch-free wipe. You're also going to take it and fold it like a hot dog. This is thick, so it's going to represent that thick skin layer. You have a string or a yarn, piece of yarn. You have a spatula that you're going to be working with. It has your dry blood over the top of it. You have a cotton ball. Let's go ahead and take the cotton ball and find the edge of the cotton ball, and you're going to unravel it like so. The mistake that a lot of artists do is that they actually use a whole ball of cotton, and it's just bulky. So just unravel it, put that to the side. You have your cup of latex. You can go ahead and open that up carefully. In your bins, you have, and can either use just your finger today, you can use one of the sponges you cut up, you can use the spatula, or you can use a brush. Any one of these things that are disposable, you're welcome to use today. I just have an extra spatula here to show you. Some of the spatulas have a little edge to them. Same. The big one, the medium one, or the angled one, they're all the same. All right, so we're just gonna prepare everything, okay? We are going to go ahead and take and fold our little rectangle, the lynch-free wipe, fold it. We're gonna make the cut. So here's some scissors that you're sharing on your tabletop, and you're going to just gently trim the edge, just gently, because you want just a small slice. This represents this cut on the skin. So grab the scissors that are in your basket. There are several. And make your cut. For those of you that are waiting for that, you go ahead and take your yarn. And the yarn is a rope braid. My freshmen that just finished braiding, you understand what that is. Go ahead and twist it the opposite direction. And when you twist the braid, the rope braid in the opposite direction, you're going to notice that the little yarn, little pieces are coming apart. So you can go ahead and pull apart the yarn. Oh, okay. The yarn that you have, you can still do that too. If you want a thinner vein, you can untwist it, and you can still pull that apart to make a thinner line. It does kind of come undone some, okay? So you just gotta keep it together as best you can. I'm gonna use the thick one so that you can see it on the screen, but you can go as thin as the vein that you're trying to create. You take your scissors and cut you a little piece that's going to fit on the bottom side of your lint wipe, okay? Your lint-free wipe. It should not extend past the edges, okay? So you're folding your lint-free wipe, you're cutting the edge, you're unraveling your yarn, you're cutting a little piece of yarn to represent the vein, and it fits inside of your your little square or rectangle. Now this is a big rectangle, and for those of you that have small hands, it might extend past the sides. You can trim it up a bit, okay? Your choice if you want to do that. You don't have to, but you can. So I made mine a little bit smaller. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come by, get my latex ready. I'm going to be working with a spatula today, okay? You can use your finger, brush, or sponge. I'm going to dip my spatula into the latex, and I'm going to place where my vein is between the middle and the third knuckle, your ring finger knuckle. I'm going to place a little bit of latex down, and then I'm going to place my blue, I'm going to squeeze this forward a little bit, sorry. I'm going to place my blue yarn over my vein. I'm going to pick up some latex with my spatula, and I'm going to then place, without it getting stuck, right? Mine got stuck. Carefully place my vein, my blue yarn, over my natural vein. Okay, I'm gonna let that, give it a second to dry. I'm gonna take my lint-free wipe. I'm gonna turn it onto one side and I'm gonna place some latex over the top with my finger, sponge, brush, or my spatula. Again, it is just a popsicle stick. We're fancy and call it spatulas or spatula. Okay. Before it dries, I'm gonna take my 4x4, my napkin, my paper towel, my tissue, because you can use different material. Today we're using a lint-free wipe for the thickness, but you can do different material if you're doing this at home. I put my latex underneath it, and then I'm gonna place my cut over the top of my yarn, my vein, and I'm going to take my spatula and I'm gonna push down. So at the cut, I should be seeing the yarn popping through underneath, and I'm adding latex to the edges of my shape. Now you can cut this any way you choose to blend it in. I'm gonna go ahead and open my hand, so that way when I open my hand and I flip it over to the other side, I don't keep moving it and then it doesn't pop up. Okay? We're going to be working on the bottom side on the palm as well, so it'll move a little bit, but it's all right. So what you should be seeing at the moment is you are seeing the thick fabric laid down, covered with latex in the slit where you got cut, per se. You see the blue fiber, the yarn, that represents the vein. So in order to blend this in, because the little paper is thick, but your skin obviously is not as popped up, you're going to be placing layers upon layers of latex on these edges right here so that it blends in with the skin. But it's going to take some time because latex takes time to dry. Now, yesterday it dried super fast simply because we only put latex over the skin. But now we're introducing fabric. So tissue, paper towel, napkins, some people use cloths depending on how thick you need this to be. The brown paper towels, cotton, Q-tips, anything of the sort is fabric. When you soak it in with the, or apply it with the latex, it just takes that much longer to dry. Okay, so while this is drying, okay, you're going to then come back and then add another little bit of latex over the edge to blend that rectangle or square, depending if you cut it at this point, to blend it in with my skin. This is like several layers. We don't have time for several layers today, okay? So as you're working on this, Dr. Ryan is going to continue and do the second part so we can move on to the second technique. And then we're going to come back to this in just a little bit. Okay, so coming over to the other side, we are now going to be working with our cotton, our latex, and with our paper towel. So go ahead and fold your paper towel, and then same method, you're going to create a slice. We're going to be placing this like so lengthwise on the cushy part of our palm. On the edges, I like for you to go ahead and tear around the edges, just don't tear the slice. That way you have a more blended edge and it's not so like sharp. Which on this back side, it's totally sharp, right? And you need a lot of layers of latex to blend that. You can blend it, it's just a lot of layers of latex, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to turn over this way. You have your tissue, paper towel that's cut. Remember, the little side that has the round circles, that's the bottom part. That's the bottom part. So right now I have mine upside down. This is right side, right side. This is the right side. Smooth on top. All right, guys, you ready to get messy? Because it's about to get a little messy, okay? All right, I'm going to take a little piece of cotton like so, maybe the length of my pinky. And I'm going to, don't dip the whole thing. Dip half of the cotton into the latex. dip half of the cotton into the latex. It's going to pick up some latex, and I'm going to drop it down. I'm going to sweep latex on the fatty part of my palm, and then I'm going to pick up some latex, and I'm going to smear my cotton with it. Okay? Use your pinky to hold it down, do the edges, and then do the middle. It's going to get away from you, and that's okay, but you just don't want to crazy oversaturate it with latex because it'll take extra long to dry, and we just don't have that extra long time. On the edges, you can use the back side of your spatula or your finger and smooth down your edges so it blends in with your skin. But you do want to create texture, so you want to tap, tap, tap. Remember, this is the chunky part. You can move it around. This is the fatty part of the inside of the cut. So you do want to give it a good texture just by stippling motions. Okay? From here, now this is the underneath part, right? So here, everybody look. We're going to take our paper towel, remember with the little round pieces, round texture down. You're going to place it over the top, and it's paper towel, so it's going to absorb the latex and it's going to stick. So just tap, tap with your finger, and if you don't want to you don't like to get the finger dirty or wet, pick up some latex with your spatula or brush, and then put it over the top. Blend in those edges, and again, layers and layers of latex is going to help you blend those edges with your skin. Okay? So this is going to help you. Using the spatula is going to help you so that you don't have to have those fingers, you don't want to get your fingers dirty. And then place some latex over the middle of the cut of the paper towel. Now, turn to the clean side of your spatula, and then you're going to slice inside the wound like so. And then push up the edges so that it looks like you have a gash. Now, make a V shape on the edges so that it looks like it's pierced. Very nice and even on both sides. But you're going to take that cotton and you're going to lift up the edges. And depending on how high up you go, the more deep that wound will look. Now you already have that cotton underneath, so you can play with the cotton a little bit. If it's starting to dry out, add some latex in there. Move it around. And that is how you create your slice. Make sure your edges are nice and smooth. Okay, blend it in with your fingers, your sponge, or with your brush. Smooth it out. Now, because it's cotton, it's going to take a lot longer to dry than the latex did yesterday, okay? So, you're absolutely going to just sit for a little bit and wait for it to dry. It's going to take a bit. Your blood design, your scab blood will go on the inside of that wound. So, however deep you did it, that's how much scab blood you should fill in with. The paints and stuff you did yesterday, that'll be something that, if you had more time, then you can go in, put a layer of foundation first, because it'll mix the latex, it'll blend the latex with your skin, so layer foundation, and then your paints over the top of that, and then the scab blood, and then the drippy blood. Drippy blood we're going to be using tomorrow when we do the gunshot wound, okay? So just FYI. Those are the steps, the layers of how you do the application of your paint job. Okay. If you turn to the back side, your back side should be somewhat drying. While you're allowing the palm of your hand to dry, okay, while you're allowing that to dry, you can start to fill in. You can start to fill in on the back side, the cut. Now remember that first cut we saw just a little bit of blood. But I know you guys want to be coloring it in, so you can stipple, tap, tap, tap to add some pigment. And after you're done adding the pigment, and you can blend that into your skin as well, you can add a little bit of that scab blood into the cut, and you make sure it's oozing in the right direction. If your character, your actor, actress is to the left, make sure it drips to the left. Okay? All right, we're gonna come around and see how you're doing. All right, when you turn your palm over and your palm is up, pick up a little bit of your dry blood. It should now be close to dry, and you're going to insert some of the dry blood into the cut, like so. And then you can tap, tap, tap over the top to add some pigment, some coloring. And then of course it's still wet, so it's not going to, and it's a little bit cold in the room, so that is going to affect the way the blood works. It's not going to be as drippy as it normally would, or as tacky as it would. So the room temperature has a lot to do with how your makeup will play for you. So add, tap, tap. When you're tapping in a stippling motion, you're creating texture. Okay, and then you're adding the blood on the inside of the cut, and just go back and forth with your spatula. You should still have that clean edge. You can lift the edges up a little bit to open up the wound some more. Okay, you can pinch the edges to create a solid, really nice clean edge in a V shape. And then if you wanted to, scooping up whatever you have left over of blood, if you wanted to do a drip or something, just make sure it's dripping in the correct direction according to how your actor or model is falling or laying, okay? Blending in and adding makeup on the outskirts of the prosthetic appliance of the latex, it's going to help blend in the cut. Now, obviously, this looks more white because we didn't use makeup or foundation. But once you use foundation and use makeup and you do this, it just blends in more with your skin tone. Okay? And that is how you create a cut or a slice. Any questions?